Welcome. This is Peter Colla again. Wanted to come to you and bring you the first video in the series of spiritual therapy that I was going to release and allow people to get a little bit of grip and actually get a little bit of insight of what exactly spiritual therapy is, how it works, and maybe even give some examples of how I present it when I'm presenting it to people in the real world when it comes to, well, not that you're not the real world, you are, when it comes to therapeutic applications for issues that they suffer from. As we spoke of last time in the last video, and I'll quickly recap that video, we talked about the fact that the body is a small piece, the mind is much bigger, and the spirit is infinite, almost to the point of the size of an ocean compared to a cork. And in the same way, it is that way that you deal with sicknesses. Today we are going to look at the very first scenario, actually probably the most common scenario in the treatment realm. The majority of people that come to see me when it comes to actively wanting healthcare treatment usually are dealing with pain, or in some cases, extreme tension. It is my experience that they're both basically the same. But I will go through them and talk about them a little bit in depth. We will cover primarily pain today, and today's lesson is welcome to the pain. So it's not welcome to the pain because I'm asking you to go ahead and hurt yourself or to basically live with the pain and suck it up, as a lot of people have often been told. I'm also not telling you to go live with the pain so that you can somehow dumb it down or cause it to miraculously or almost immediately disappear. No, the idea is to embrace the pain and find out what exactly is it doing and why is it doing it for you. Remember last time we talked about what is sickness. Sickness, afflictions, anything that happens negative towards our body, especially in the physical or the healthcare scenario, is an attack from outside. The more often that you're attacked, the more of a sort of battlefield-like remnant that is left over in your body, so that your body has to take it and has to deal with it. Let's start right away with a common occurrence that is in the pain realm. I see a lot of patients who come to me that they have had issues. Let's just jump right in. Let's call it a low back pain. Let's say the patient comes in, he's got low back pain. A lot of people, and I say he, because a lot more men suffer from low back pain than women. Interesting enough, we'll get into that here a little bit later in the video. Why is that? But a lot of women, more or less, they suffer more from upper back, neck, shoulder issues, and men have a tendency to suffer, generally speaking, from low back issues. Okay, now like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more later. But what first? Again, before we jump completely into the therapeutic situation, let's review pain, attacks, sicknesses, etc. are attacks. Like the example from the previous video, they are like an attacking raccoon that comes in your house, makes a mess, destroys everything, and the minute you chase it away, the attack is over, or the minute it runs away, it's had enough of an attack. It hasn't killed you, so it's just going to leave, and it'll come back. It'll probably come back later if you don't do something about it. So you've got to clean up the mess. That's what I'm going to help you with as well. Now, let's take this common occurrence of low back pain. Obviously, most of my readers have heard of the sickness or the issue, the condition that many people suffer from, arthritis. We will use arthritis as an example. A lot of people have arthritis. They go to the doctor. They have arthritis of the knee, arthritis of the hip, arthritis of the back, arthritis of the neck, fingers, whatever. And they're told you have this problem. Okay, well, interesting enough, arthritis, I was taught, is arthritis is not a problem that you have. It is a problem you suffer from. Okay, and that is the way it is actually, it is true. Now, if you look at the actual word arthritis, arthro-itis, the itis actually comes from the root of the Latin, and it comes out of the term of attack. So, or inflammation, a momentary attack that causes inflammation. There's a momentary attack or a sickness that is momentarily, that causes your body to react, and then your reaction is inflammation. That is actually an accurate description of what is occurring with arthritis. Now, so you have this attack, something happens to the joint, whether it's an acidic and a poison, or it is actually you maybe overstrained it, or you maybe had twisted it, or whatever you happen to do, that you hurt your back, your knee, or your elbow, your finger. It doesn't make any difference which one it is, but the person is suffering from an arthritis. So there was an attack on that tissue in the joint, in the arthro. So boom, immediately when the attack comes, the alarm sounds, the pain occurs. Okay, then you get reactions. Okay, your body has natural built-in reactions that they're not directly connected to your brain, so where you can control them. I mean, there are Buddhist monks that can to a degree control parasympathetic systems with meditation. Except, well, okay, the average person you cannot tell your leg to suddenly stop swelling. You can't tell your leg to stop hurting. You have to convince it to do that, okay? You have to prompt it to do it. You have to relieve, or actually let it realize that the trauma is over with. Now it can relax, and it can go back to being, healing and doing what it's. Attack occurs in the low back. Attack occurs in the knee. There is a trauma, okay? It is immediate, whether it is a strain, sprain, blunt trauma, you have accidentally poisoned, or you got stabbed, who knows? But the result is immediate pain. Immediate pain has the result of shutting down the systems that are around that area. Okay, that's natural. Okay, I don't care how many Rambo movies you watch where Rambo gets shot through the leg. He gets up and burns the hole and patches it up with a piece of rope, and he's off running again. Impossible. Okay, if there's a dramatic trauma to the tissue, the body will shut down the innervation to that muscle and actually cause a sort of paralysis, not total paralysis, but a reduced stimulation of the nerve, and your ability to even move the leg goes down dramatically. Your ability to move your back suddenly goes down. So people who suffer from acute back trauma or acute injuries, and they feel a lot of pain, suddenly they get weak. And they're like, oh, it's like, I can't even get out of the chair. And it's true, because all the muscles around that area have suddenly reduced signals. That is a natural protective mechanism to cause you to slow the freak down. It wants you to slow down so that you're not bothered. You're not going to go and keep doing what you were doing before that got you in this pickle in the first place. Okay? So that's the first thing. So there's a reduced stimulus to the muscle groups that are surrounding the area. There is also immediate increase of tension, isolation. So it wants to fixate everything, because the body doesn't know what's going on. It doesn't know whether you broke something, whether you stabbed something, or what. So it basically constricts to hold everything rigid in place, so that you're not going to keep doing what you're doing in order to actually hurt yourself worse. So there's a constriction. Now look at my fist. Okay, if I hold my fist like this, compared to this one here, which is kind of red, and this one's all white. Okay, it's white for a reason. All of that tension, all of that constriction that's taking place There's an enormous amount of tension. There's an enormous amount of pressure here. And so the blood is not able to squeeze through into the capillaries, into these areas that are basically inside this high tension area. So what's happening there? It is isolating. It's stopping the joint from moving so that it's protected. There's a protective shell, as it were, it's put around the injured area. But what's happening is it's also not getting any food. Okay. So the negative thing is it starts having a sort of decrease of oxygenation. Now, couple this, if I was to hold my fist like this, keep holding it here for a couple of minutes, it would be almost impossible for me to open my hand. It would hurt to open my hand. It's like, ooh, it would. If I was to hold it there like a month, I probably couldn't even open it. If I would hold it there for a year, like happens with people who injure their back and then don't do anything, just kind of go home and rest. And they might take anti-inflammatory medication to reduce the inflammation, but if they don't do anything to reduce the tension around their back and their back becomes rock hard, that increase of tension and that decrease of circulation, you still got buildup of the cells still need to be fed. They still are doing work. As a matter of fact, the muscles are doing more work. And so there's lactic acids that are building up. It's an acidic situation. That hall has to be cleaned. That's like a garbage dump. The area becomes a garbage dump. And it's that which will then further cause degeneration of the tissue that has little to do with the original injury. Even if you had a stab wound, okay, that doesn't account. If you had a stab wound on, let's say, L4, L5, you're not going to have a degenerate. Why are you getting a degeneration in L3, L4, LL2, L3? But that's what ends up happening. It starts moving up the joints, and it's because it's building up that acidic situation, and they're getting worse and worse and worse, and there's no relief taking place. And that's why these people, they come to me and they'll have this back injury that they occurred when lifting, whatever, a barrel at their work, and they strain their back. They go home. Yes, they'll take an anti-inflammatory or maybe even a pain pill. And then after a while, they stop giving that. And he's sitting at home and it's just all this tension. If they don't release that tension, it causes other injuries to occur. And then they find themselves locked up in jail. They're in the healthcare jail. Okay. Now, I was working in the healthcare jail for 30 some years. And obviously there are a lot of care practitioners out there that really, really want their people to get better, and they do the best they can to get better. I did the same. I tried to do the same thing, but I also found myself to be very restricted by the industry. So frustrating it was when I would come to find out that, for example, if a person gets injured, the closer you are to the injury and you do an effective treatment, the less chance you have of that injury turning chronic and causing other injuries. More weakness develops, more issues, other surrounding issues become affected, and stress is added on. And that suddenly you got all the stress that you're dealing with because you're worried you can't pay your bills, and all these things start building up. So if you front load the therapy, you will actually reduce the total number of visits. So really, it was actually important to do as much as you could in the beginning, as close to the injury as you could. And that way, by the time they got out to about a week or two after, they were pretty much better. The insurance companies put an end to that. They just said, no, you can only see them 2 times a week. Or they would make you wait 2-3 weeks after an injury before they would give you authorization. So you had to wait. The person had to sit at home for a couple weeks waiting for to receive authorization just to be seen. Now, all of you that are not, have a lot of money, you know what I'm talking about, because the story is the same for everybody. It doesn't matter who, actually, it doesn't even matter if you're rich, because they all get the same care when they go lately, they go to the healthcare scenario, they're treated the same way. So the bottom line is the earlier the therapeutic application, the faster you apply it to at the actual time of the injury, the more effect you have. So, and if you can really take and counter some of those earlier symptoms, okay, and those symptoms, like I said, are signs, the more chance you have of turning it over quickly. Okay, the longer you sit there with the injury and the more times it comes back, the bigger mess you have to clean up. Okay, we've already covered that, so we're not going to go into that again, but we'll go further. Now, back to our issue. Back gets injured. Injury occurs. Boom. The first thing you do is feel pain. Okay? Pain has become everybody's enemy. Pain has become the thing that they rush to the doctor. First thing the doctor gives them pain pills. Okay. The problem with the pain pill, okay, and this is the major problem, is it reduces your ability to feel the pain, but it doesn't reduce the cause of the pain. It just reduces the feeling. So I'm going to compare the pain mechanism to a fire alarm that sits up on your roof of your house, of your dwelling. If you're in the middle of the night and suddenly that fire alarm goes off, wee, 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 okay, you can do one of three things, okay? You can go up to it, pull it down, unhook the battery, stick it back up there, or pull off the wires, and it'll stop. And then you can go to bed. It's not a smart idea, especially if you don't know why it went off. The last thing you want to do is go to sleep without the fire alarm. Okay. Number two, you could throw a wet rag over it, so it's just you could barely hear it, and then you'll have a little bit of an alarm, but maybe enough that you can sleep through it. Okay, so you could muffle it. Okay, does nothing for the cure of the pain. Or you can look and figure out, why is the alarm going off? Oh, Grandma left the bacon cooking from this afternoon, and now it's a big smoke pile. Turn off the heat, remove the bacon, open the window, let the air through. Suddenly the alarm will go off for itself, or you just turn it off and it won't turn back on because of smoke. You've taken care of the problem. Okay? That is the solution every time. Pain pills, all they do is remove the effectiveness of you to being able to feel. They're basically the equivalent of putting a wet rag over the fire alarm. If you happen to have pain long enough and you become too much of a bother to the doctor and he can't give you pain medication anymore because he's afraid you're going to get addicted, then you run the risk of going in and having him say to you, well, I think the only thing we have left to do is cut the nerve. I can't tell you how many patients I've had come into my office that have had nerves cut from their sciatica or nerves cut from their arms, so that now they don't have any, they can't feel any pain. How dangerous that is. That's disabling the fire alarm. So when the attack comes, they won't even know they feel it. So let's get into something like, let's get into that while we're at it. This is a good place for this. It was commonly known for many, many years, and a lot of people know this fact, or they don't really know the total story, but they know half the fact, that leprosy was a common sickness that kind of developed around the destruction of the Roman Empire, and when things kind of sunk into the Dark Ages, there was a lot of lepers suddenly because the whole society took a crumble and there was a lot of poverty. And then in poverty, you have inhygienic conditions, and that happened to be also a problem with the Dark Ages, apparently. And then the people would get leprosy. And then leprosy, of course, was very, very contagious because they had no cure, no treatment for leprosy. So what did they do? They took those poor people, and the minute they had any kind of wound or any kind of sore that looked like leprosy, they were ostracized, and they had to leave the community and had to be out by themselves, living basically in caves or under trees or in wherever they could survive, as long as they were away from people. Okay. It is commonly known among media, among the TV, that lepers lose fingers, lose noses, lose attachments of their body. It's not true. They don't lose anything. Their skin rots, true. Their skin develops these almost like fungus-like attacks. It's like a fungal bacterial type mixture of those, and that's what causes leprosy. And so they get these big swellings, and it kills the nerves. So their nerves become completely numb, and they can't feel their extremities anymore. Okay, but they don't lose their extremities. The people that know leprosy and know what happens in that situation will tell you, and I know this because I lived in Europe, and one of the professors, he had actually treated lepers of all things. He says lepers don't lose their extremities. The rats come at night and eat them, and they can't even feel the rat nibbling on their finger or on their nose because it's numb. It's completely numb, so they don't feel it. So, and then, of course, that rat is spreading that around all the more. Okay, why did I tell you that story? Okay, because when you lose your ability to feel, you become extremely vulnerable to attacks. Extremely vulnerable. Okay, so that's the last thing you want to do. Oh, by the way, numbing the pain with pain pills makes you susceptible to other attacks in the spirit. Okay, so we don't want to do that. We want to do it in a way that reduces by honoring the pain, as it were, and embracing it and making sure we identify the cause of the pain. Then we basically either the alarm will shut off for itself, or we can then turn it off through various applications, which I'm going to share with you here in a moment, that will allow you to turn off the pain yourself, as long as now you're identifying the cause and not going back to the same bowl that's causing the problem in the first place. So here we are. So we know right now that if pain occurs, we are not to just run off and take a pain pill. We have to sit down and identify, what am I doing? What am I thinking? What am I busy with right now that possibly could be causing this pain? Most people, when the first event occurs, they know exactly what they're doing, and they were knowing what they're busy with. I can't tell you how many times I've had patients come in and say, "Oh, I was doing the same thing I'd done 100 times. I was lifting, I was lifting this engine out of a 34, whatever, Ford, and they're working this stuff, but he wasn't paying attention because he was worried about what was going on in his family life." And he'd done the same thing he'd done 100 times. Lift it, lift it, lift it. But now he's thinking over here. Okay. And his attention's over here on his problems. Men carry the burdens of their family and business in their low back. Women carry the burdens in their shoulders. Poor man is he's doing his normal job, done it 1,000 times. Why should this one be any different? He's done it so many times, it's automatic. He's lifting. He's thinking, though, about his problems. He's got to repair that roof. He's got the mother-in-law's coming this next week. Oh my God, my dog is pregnant again. And there's all these different things you got to deal with. And where am I going to get the money for it? And how am I going to pay for the bills? And Junior wants a new football helmet. So he's got all this stuff he's got to deal with, and he's just doing his work. And the enemy sees it. The enemy sees that flaw, that weakness, because he is carrying all these burdens for his family, and his worry is the same as fear, and it's a hook. like a fishing hook, like a chicken bone laying on my cabinet, waiting for the raccoon to smell it and come running. That's what the fear is. That's what the worry is. And his back is the window he left open in his mansion of many rooms. Okay? That's his window that's open, the back window, the back door. He left it cracked because he's busy doing other things, thinking about other things in his work. And boom, the enemy comes in and boom, stabs him in the back. Now, the enemy wants to kill him, but God's like, no. You can hurt him. Not that God he allows it, but he doesn't. He's not the one doing it, but he is allowing the enemy to do it because he knows Eddie's going to overcome. David's going to overcome. He's going to come through this back problem. He's not going to just live with it. He's going to get over it. As a matter of fact, he's going to be better than he was before. God has faith. Okay. So boom, it comes in. Boom, ruptured disc, torn ligament, compressed nerve, name it. Pain, immediate pain. All that tension. Okay, he's got to be carted off. He's got to go off to the emergency. He's got to go to the, Concentra to get his back looked at. Those idiots. And he's got to go and make sure that, so he gets his pain pill. And then they give him his anti-inflammatory. And he goes home. And his anti-inflammatory. So that's not specific enough. So he's got to go back after a few weeks. And they try an injection of cortisone. So they got to stab another knife in his back to push a little bubble of cortisone liquid in there to reduce the swelling. Okay. And it might reduce the swelling immediately, but it does nothing for the attack. It's the minute he goes and starts, and plus now he's gotten weaker. All the muscles have gotten weaker. His legs, his hips have all gotten weaker. If he goes back to work now, he's going to be a weakened state. The minute he goes to lift that, and he repeats the same thing that caused the injury in the first place. If he goes back to the same bowl, it's going to cause the same injury. It will be like the worry comes in, the fear. I wonder if this is going to hurt me when I do this. And the enemy's just waiting. Yes. Goes in again. It goes in for another attack. And another, and another, and another. Before you know it, the guy has to be on disability. He has to stop. No, he doesn't. Okay. You identify where the pain is coming from. You embrace it. You ask it. What are you trying to tell me? What am I doing wrong here? Well, in that case, I know what I was doing. Most people know. But if you don't know, you ask. Especially if it's been coming for a long time. A lot of pain, a lot of nightmares, a lot of tension or anxiety attacks are all the same. It's all spiritual attacks coming at a specific time when you're thinking about a specific thing, when you happen to see a specific show on TV that reminds you of some traumatic event that happened to you 35 years ago. And it opens that little door. And then the attack comes in, and that attack is the anxiety, is the pain. So once you've identified what it is, the good news is you can, again, you turn your attention on you. I'm not going to let that problem affect my back. I know it comes from that. So putting your attention on the problem takes away the curse. Okay? Identifying the cause of the problem, the real cause, takes away the curse. Okay? If you know a problem is because you're carrying too many burdens, ladies, in your neck and shoulders, causing this by the time you're an old woman, you know that this symptom is caused by that. Once you know that, you say to yourself, I'm not going to let this be affected by that anymore. And you say, I'm not doing it. It's not having an effect on me. And you see it. So when you feel it, you say, I'm not playing today. Stop. Go away. You have not because you want. You have not because you ask not. I'm asking God, take it away. I don't want that attack. I want victory. You promised me victory. I'm claiming victory. I'm claiming victory over that. Okay. Now, what do we do? Okay. What do we do for these issues? Once we've had an attack, once they've occurred, we've now put our attention on, we are going to stop it from happening in the future. Okay. It doesn't mean another attack might not come from this way, but we'll deal with that one when it comes. At least now we know what pain is, what it's designed to do, what allergic reactions are. Same thing. Not the same as pain, but a reaction that's affecting your nose. Okay, what the sickness in my stomach or the heartburn is, that is an issue here. What the problem with my lungs? If I'm having problems with my lungs in my breathing, and it's chronic, and I keep having this all the time. Maybe I need to examine what's going in and out of my breath. Okay, maybe when it's funny, I just had this discussion today with my best friend from college who's had chronic issues with his breathing for years. But it's funny how after he has an argument with with family members, he suddenly has issues develop in his lungs where he's got to go to the doctor and he's got to get these breathing helps and different things like that because his breathing ability has gone down dramatically, suddenly, bronchitis, pneumonia, name it. There's a reason that they attack certain places on our body, headaches, equilibrium with our ears, why we're having problems with our breathing or our sinuses or our smelling. There's a reason it attacks the right shoulder, not the left shoulder, or the right elbow and not the left elbow. It's a reason it happens into why women suffer from hip injuries more than men. There's a reason why men suffer from low back injuries more than women. There's reasons for this stuff. And what you need to do is not just look at the physical reason, which is the tissue, the specific tissue. No, you look at the experiential. What was I doing when this happened? What was I thinking about? What was I busy with? Okay, what's going, you analyze it from an experiential standpoint. That's important information. And then you get it from a belief system. Okay. Do you believe that it could possibly be spiritual? If you're willing to believe that, you empower your spiritual lightsaber by believing it comes on, and you're ready to go take on the demon when he comes back. That's what happens with the belief. The belief. Do you believe you can get better? Do you know how many people I've talked to in 35 years that have said, yeah, I understand that I can get better, but you don't know what I did. You don't know how bad I was. I deserve everything I got. I did this or I did that, or I played a little too hard with football, or I kicked too many carpets with my knee. All these people that believe that somehow they don't deserve healing. Especially when they go to the doctor, and I say doctor with little d because he's an idiot, says, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing we can do for you. You're going to have to live with it. AKA, you are a whatever, alcoholic. You are a cancer patient. You are a, arthritic, amputee. You name it. When he starts renaming you and telling you you are anything but the child of God that you were designed to be, it's an insult. Okay? You don't become something lesser than what God has created you to be unless you do it to yourself and accept it. But now if you're tricked into believing that you have something instead of it's something that's attacking you, Well, then you start confessing it with your mouth and start saying, yeah, I am this or I am that. Yeah, there's nothing doctor can do for me because I'm arthritic. I have, or I am. Those are the worst. Those are the worst words in the medical community. They're words of doom and gloom. The I ams and the I haves and the isms and all of those kind of words and those diagnosis codes that try to rename you for what you really, from what, not from what you were designed to be, but what they basically want to call you as they give you your little number and put you in the jail cell, with your little number you're holding. This is my number. Now I'm my diagnosis code. That's my number. I'm not Peter Colla anymore. Now I'm 073, 070865381. That's me. Diagnosis code 97120. Boom, I'm in there. And it's like, that's ridiculous. That is totally ridiculous that you get relabeled with a number, and that defines who you are. That is not godly. That is ungodly. Okay? You're either for me or you're against me. Jesus said it himself. So if it's not of him, then it's got to be of the other guy. So this way it is. Tough, but it is what it is. What do we do about it? We've identified what it is. We say no. Now we need to clean up the mess. Okay? Today's lesson, clean up the mess with pain. The best, easiest, most effective, and the most abundant way to clean up any mess. Water. Water's the way. Water's the number one tool. Water is the unit. Okay? I don't know how many of the truthers, most of them already know this, but they've heard of the Masaru Emoto and his study about water. I'm going to go real briefly. I actually went through this a little bit with Nino already, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again with you guys that are watching this and may not have seen that original show that I did with him. Masaru Emoto basically proved that there is a physiological change in water, an actual reproducible and visible, accurately measured change that occurs with water between water that is just standing to water that is blessed to water that is cursed. So when they took the water and he tried all different experiments to try to figure out why does water, when it's blessed or seems to be blessed, smell better, taste better, and actually do better for the people or the plants that it happens to be used with. And why does water, when it's cursed, actually seem to cause death or poison? It should be very... He basically, out of a lot of different interpretation, a lot of different experiments, finally came up with the idea of flash freezing the water and put it under the microscope and examine the crystals that form. And in the water that was blessed, they demonstrated beautiful crystals of almost like diamonds, rainbows, etc. In the cursed water, it was dark and dreary and blackish, and it looked like rotten. And so the point is, he proved that the water has the ability to absorb the intentions of us, people, humans, people that are created in the image of God, all of us basically. So we can take water and we can bless it and it will do good things. We can curse it and it will do bad things. Or we can just leave it and then it's open to interpretation. It'll just absorb what's around it. It may go stale. That's okay. We can do the same thing with ourselves. We are 68, I believe it's higher than that, but okay. They say 68% water. Okay. That's a lot of water. Okay. So if you take water and you have the ability to transmit the basic information or your intention into the water, then you can use water to pretty much do anything. Okay, you have in every therapy, we like to use a physical, an experiential, and a belief-based application. Physical means you do some small physical activities that are in direct opposite what the injury is trying to make you do. So if the injury puts you on your back, you need to be getting up and stretching or moving, getting more mobile. If it's trying to stop you from walking, you've got to exercise and get yourself walking. If the injury is trying to desocialize you, like with depression, okay, desocialization is the main symptom of depression. You need to socialize, but you've got to be able to get out and do that. So the therapy is to do that. So you got to using the water is just a tool, except it's a tool that can be empowered. Okay, God said, my word is as living waters. Wait a minute now. Well, why did he say that? Why didn't he say my sand is as living waters, or my trees are like living waters, or my flour that you're going to eat in your bread is like living water? It's like living is like me. It's like living is living. Why did he say the water is like living waters? Why did he use? He didn't use it the light of the sun. He just used water. He said, my word is as living waters. The very thing that created the entire universe is as living waters. Now so I'm thinking, well, why? Is it maybe because water is a very, very practical and important tool that God has made so abundant? They've already proven scientifically there's more water under the ocean than there is above the ocean, above the bottom of the ocean. That means basically we've got so much water on this planet is unbelievable. We have 68% of our body is what I wouldn't be surprised if 68% of the planet is water. There's water everywhere. So what a great thing to make a conduit for the energies of intention. Okay, now we're getting into some interesting stuff here. Okay, remember the atom. What separates this tissue from this tissue, this thing here? Okay, the only difference between this living tissue and that is the spirit in there, that the spirit that has the ability to give and receive intention, give and receive love, give and receive hate. So back to our example, basic body, very little physical activities, much experiential. Today I do 10 times I was able to lift my leg. Tomorrow I'm lifting it 20 times. Ooh, 10 progress. I have to say it to hear myself say it. That's all being registered in my library. I made 10 progress today. But my believing I can get better, believing that water has the ability to display intention, I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go into the water and I'm going to exercise in the water. I'm going to go and put my legs in there when my knee is bothering my low back, and I'm going to tell the water what to do. I'm going to say to the water, thank you for the blessing that you're going to bring to my body. That you're going to transmit the healing energy to my body, like the fireman, which is the healer, is transmitting the fire drenching power of the water, the healing power of God, to the fire. And the water is going to deliver that healing, because that's my intention, to deliver healing from God to my back, to my knee, to my neck, whatever I happen to be. That's just one way. Then I grab my little glass and I'm at dinner and I take my glass, and before I just drink it and I don't even think anything of it, I tell the water what I want it to do. Thank you. And go, by the way, when you're in there, cleanse out my back, clean out the mess, give it instructions, and drink the water and watch yourself. Watch how fast you get better. You cook your dinner. I talked about this in my first show with Nino. I love to stand there, and when I'm cooking my dinner or baking my bread, I bless the water before I put it into the food. Thank you. Or, love, Jesus, you say whatever you, butterflies, it doesn't matter. Something good, put it in the water and bless it. Now that water has intent in it. Beautiful crystals are in there now, and it's going to bring that, and it makes the food taste better. People have been blessing their meals before they eat for centuries. Most people don't even know why. Because you sit around the table and you thank God for the food we're about to receive. And you're basically blessing the water in the food. And now you're bringing that food into your body and it's been blessed. The water, you have now, it becomes supercharged in its cleaning ability. And your belief empowers it. It's your belief that empowers that water through God. Everything, he said, everything I've done, you will do because I'm with my Father in heaven. Everything. I haven't walked on water yet. It's another story. But I'll tell you what, I have had some miracles occur in my practice. Some I had no idea. People, broken bones, that healed. Woman with cancer, she had a few weeks to live, and she just broke down and admitted what was going on in her life, and how she just hated her mother and this and that. And then when she got to a point where she was willing to see, maybe that's what's causing your problem. You think? And was able to say, I forgive. Even if she didn't mean it, just saying the words, I forgive her. I forgive her what she did to me. And saying those words caused a miraculous change in her. It was concentrate that belief into that physical treatment, that little teeny physical treatment. Boom. Like a concentrated point of a high heel shoe walking across a basketball court. I mean, it makes a dent. So that is how we apply the treatments in the same proportion. And at the same time, the enemy, they lose their spiritual side. So the curse, it's fleed because you're using your spiritual light and putting your light on. So they don't have the benefit of the product of the curse. They only have what's left, the little teeny squeaky little bug that's down there that wanted to come in. That is how we are going to address every aspect of the therapeutic process. Today, we talked about pain, not being afraid of it, not numbing it, but thanking God that he empowered us with an alarm system that allows us to see immediately what's attacking us and what direction, so that we can formulate a good counter defense. And that's what we need to be able to do. Okay. It's called self-defense for a reason. self-defense. You're defending yourself. Okay. So but you've got to learn. It's not something that just happens. You got to learn. It takes time. It takes practice. It has to be automatic. You feel the pain, you immediately say, nope, not playing today. Stop. I know what's coming. I know what it is. I know it's the tension. I was too worried here for a little while. I was distracted. Suddenly, oh, my knee. No, I'm not playing. Go away. The knee is okay. Nothing's wrong there. And even if I did happen to step off the curb and hurt it a little bit, you know what? It's going to be fine. It's going to get better. God, he wants me still to go this direction. He's not, I'm going this direction. You know why? Because I asked him. I'm in his army. He told me go that way. He said, go out there and spread the word. He told me to go out and fight the fight in the trenches, go out there and slay demons, beat the giants. That's what he's told us all to do. We've got to spread the word. We've got to help. We got to help the people who are still, hurt, that are still, worried about their little toe. We got to help those people. We got to go and say, hey, there are other ways. God has given us everything we need to overcome, but we got to be willing to pick it up. He puts those things there. It shows us in his examples, but it's still free will. You could walk right past the club is all you need to defeat the giant, and it's just sitting right there. But the minute you pick up the club and the giant sees you got the club, he's going to be running. He won't even stay around to fight, because he see that weapon in your hand, that sword of light, that lightsaber. He's not going to stay around to wait to get slaughtered. No, he's going to run, guaranteed. And that's what we do. We pick up the sword. Last thing, fear. I love this example. I'm going to tell you this example. It was my manager, worked for me for years. She had a daughter, and she went in, and one day my manager comes in and says, my daughter is really upset. She has to go to South Phoenix, or a rough part of town, because she wants to study film. But that high school has all the stuff that they need for the film study. So all the kids that want to study film go to that school. Kids that want to study other things go to other schools. So here she goes to this film for this South Phoenix school. A lot of minorities, and then my majority of minorities. And she's in this school, and she finds herself in the bathroom, and suddenly three big girls from a different minority than white girl. She's in there, and this is not a slam on white or black or anything like that. It's just the way it is. She's there, and these three girls said, "We don't like you. Don't ever come back. We catch you in this bathroom again. We catch you on campus. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you." So this woman comes to me. This is my manager. Her daughter comes home. She says, "I don't want to go back to the school." She says, "Why?" "I don't want to tell you. I just don't want to go." She finally coerces it out of her. So now my manager comes to me. She says, what should I do? I think I'm going to go down there and talk to the principal. I said, "Don't do it. You go down and talk to that principal. The principal will go talk to those girls, and then they're going to really be pissed. And then they're going to wait till they get that girl alone somewhere, and they're going to give her a beating." He said, "Or worse. You don't want to do that. You don't want her to have her mommy come and save her." She goes, what am I going to do?" "Well, I do martial arts." Okay. I've been doing it for a long time. And I'll be doing a lot of these spiritual things, and I'll be showing people various things in the martial arts as we go further along with our spiritual treatment, because martial arts is about balance, about combining warfare with healing. Okay. So I said to her, "Listen, this is what you do. You go to my martial arts instructor, Tim Elliott. You take your daughter down there. He has a special course that he does for females, self-defense in the police force. He teaches them all. It takes him about a couple of weeks, and she'll learn everything she needs, guaranteed, to take care of herself. I said, I guarantee you, if she learns this stuff, they won't even come near her. You think? I go, try it. Just see. So she goes, all right. So she sends her daughter. About a week later, she comes into the office, or she come in every day. She didn't say anything. But then about a week later, she goes, oh my God, my daughter loves the martial arts. She goes every day. She loves it. She's just going every day. I go, that's cool. That's cool. And then about a month goes by, maybe 2. Now the daughter has already, she didn't want to just have the self-defense course. She wanted the whole banana. So she's moving up the ranks. She's now, like maybe after about 6 months or so, she's not a green belt, she's a purple belt. And then before you know it, she's up a little even higher. She's a blue belt. Oh, that's nice. She's really studying, going every day. She goes every day to study. Oh, very nice. And then the mother comes in again, and she says, guess what happened? I said, well, what? She goes, the daughter went back to the school. She hadn't even seen those girls, for months. And then when she was in the bathroom, and in they came, these 3 big girls. And they looked at her and said, oh, you're back, huh? All right, they said, we told you, bitch, don't come back here. Now you're going to get it. And they started to move forward. And she said, her mother said, she dropped her bag. She goes, let's go. And the girls turned and ran. See, that's God. That's God. It always chokes me up when I talk about God. So you're going to have to bear with that, because you're going to see it more often than not. The power of God, the confidence and strength. This girl didn't have to throw a punch. She didn't have to give a kick, but she knew she could take care of herself. And if they were going to, they might have beat her up, but she was going to get a few licks in. I guarantee you. And that gave her confidence. And the light came on, and the demon that was powering those girls flew, and suddenly they're standing. Wait a minute. I don't know if we should do that. And out the door they ran. It happens every time. So that's today's lesson. Pain. Today's first lesson with water. I will come back tomorrow, and I will do another one. I'm going to post these, and we'll see what happens. If you want to have any more information about my books, you can go to paulorpeter.com, and I have all my books are there. I even have excerpts of writings from them. Eventually, I'm going to do videos where I'm reading the books for people. I've had a lot of people ask me, I wish you had an audio version, so I'm just going to do a reading and read the whole dang book and put it in chapters, maybe 2 or 3 chapters at a time, and post it on this site here. And maybe comment on each of the chapters as I go. Health and Heal Yourself, for God's sake, and Quantum Ascension. I hope that you have a chance to visit my friend Nino at he's doing really working his ass off, trying to keep the news up and empower people. Really support that guy. He's really been taking it on the chin a lot lately, so he needs it. And I also maybe join him at NinosCorner TV if you have a chance. It doesn't cost very much. It's like very minimal, and you can go and see a lot of the videos that are where the YouTube has basically fluffed it out and not allowed some videos. So that's a good way to go in and see videos that maybe were a little bit too spicy for the. And I hope that my videos are able to be on YouTube. We'll see. If they're not, they're not. I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. I'll put them there, and if they don't like what I say, well, then they can take me off. I don't care. So again, if you want to contact us for anything or want to, we have contact information at paulorpeter. That's paulorpeter, all one word, .com. That's my site where I do my writing, and I do a lot of posting. Probably every couple of days I do another piece of writing and I release it, and you can go there and read those. And there's contact information for us. You can find my number there, my email address, and email me. And you can also, if you want to support us, we are actually trying to open an office where we don't have to rely on insurance and treat people. Maybe treat people that, even the people that can't afford it, they can come and treat for free and receive care, therapy, but also mind, body, and spiritual therapy, even if they can't afford it. And so we're trying to do a GoFundMe to try to raise the money to do that. So you can check that out too if you feel like it. All right, you have a great day, and I will talk to you soon, brothers and sisters. Again, uh, uh, if you want to become a subscriber, that would be nice. And if you want to share this video, share it with anybody you want. And like it if you feel like it. Have a great day. Love you.